Did you know that Egypt is quietly building an entirely new capital city from scratch? One so vast, so ambitious, that it may completely redefine how power, population, and the future of the country are organized. Not a new neighborhood, not an expansion, but a full replacement for one of the oldest, most crowded, and most historic capitals on Earth, Cairo. At first glance, it sounds almost unbelievable. Why would a civilization that has survived for over 5,000 years decide to move its political heart away from the city that witnessed pharaohs, empires, revolutions, and modern uprisings? Why abandon a capital that has endured longer than most nations have even existed? To understand why Egypt is building a new capital city, we have to look beyond the headlines and into population pressure, political control, climate stress, and a vision of the future that some call brilliant and others deeply unsettling. Cairo is a city under immense strain. With more than 20 million people in its metropolitan area, it is one of the most densely populated cities on the planet. Streets designed centuries ago are now clogged with endless traffic. Infrastructure creaks under the weight of rapid growth. Air pollution regularly reaches dangerous levels. Water systems, transportation networks, housing, and public services are stretched to their limits. Every year, hundreds of thousands of people move into Greater Cairo, chasing opportunity. And every year, the city grows more chaotic. Egypt's government has long known that Cairo cannot keep expanding forever. There simply isn't enough space, clean air, or infrastructure capacity to support its future population. Some estimates suggest Egypt's population could exceed 150 million by mid-century. Concentrating so many people in one megacity is a recipe for instability. So the solution, at least on paper, was radical: build a new capital city from nothing. About 45 kilometers east of Cairo in the desert, construction began on what is officially called the new administrative capital, a city planned to eventually house over 6 million people, covering an area larger than Singapore. This new capital is not meant to replace Cairo culturally or economically, but politically and administratively. Government ministries, parliament, presidential offices, foreign embassies, and military headquarters are all being relocated there. In other words, Egypt isn't just building a city, it's relocating power. Supporters of the project describe it as a necessity: a clean, modern city with smart infrastructure, wide boulevards, green spaces, renewable energy, and digital governance. A city designed for the future, not patched together from the past. The new capital boasts Africa's tallest skyscraper, one of the largest mosques and churches in the Middle East, a massive presidential palace, artificial lakes, luxury residential districts, and a central business district meant to rival global financial hubs. On paper, it sounds like a utopia rising from the sand. But critics ask a troubling question: who is this city really for? The cost of the project is estimated to exceed $50 billion, with some estimates much higher. In a country where millions live near or below the poverty line, the idea of pouring such enormous resources into a brand new city raises eyebrows. Luxury apartments dominate early development. Prices are far beyond the reach of average Egyptians. Many fear the city will become an elite enclave, home to politicians, wealthy investors, and foreign diplomats, while the majority of Egyptians remain behind in overcrowded urban centers. This has led to speculation that the new capital is not just about congestion, but control. Cairo has long been the beating heart of political activism in Egypt. Tahrir Square became a global symbol during the Arab Spring. Dense neighborhoods and historic streets make surveillance difficult and protests hard to contain. The new capital, by contrast, is wide, planned, and highly controlled. Broad roads, modern security systems, monitored zones, and a physical distance from Cairo's population centers make mass protests far less likely. Some analysts argue that moving the government away from Cairo reduces the risk of unrest. Power becomes physically separated from the people. Is this urban planning or political insulation? There's also the question of symbolism. For thousands of years, Egypt's capitals evolved naturally along the Nile. Memphis, Thebes, Alexandria, Cairo, each grew from geography, trade, and history. The new administrative capital breaks that pattern entirely. It rises from the desert, sustained by massive investment, imported water systems, and artificial landscapes. To some, this signals a break with the past, a statement that Egypt is reinventing itself for a new era, one defined by technology, centralized authority, and global ambition. To others, it feels like a gamble against history. Environmental concerns also loom large. Building a massive city in the desert requires enormous amounts of water and energy. In a region already facing climate stress and water scarcity, critics question whether such a project is sustainable long-term. Can a desert megacity truly thrive as temperatures rise and resources become more limited? Or will it become another expensive monument to ambition, struggling to fill its streets? Yet construction continues at a relentless pace. Government offices are already relocating. Roads, rail lines, and a high-speed electric train connect the new capital to Cairo. Billboards advertise a futuristic lifestyle. Promotional videos show green parks, shining towers, and orderly streets untouched by congestion. The vision is clear. Egypt wants to present itself as stable, modern, and forward-looking. A regional powerhouse prepared for the 21st century. But beneath the glossy imagery lies uncertainty. Will people actually move there in large numbers? Will businesses follow? Will the city become a living, breathing capital, or remain a partially occupied symbol of ambition? History offers warnings. Around the world, purpose-built capitals have had mixed results. Some thrive. Others struggle to attract residents, becoming hollow administrative shells. The success of Egypt's new capital depends not just on buildings, but on trust. Trust that the city serves the population, not just the state. As the desert transforms into glass and concrete, Egypt stands at a crossroads. One path leads toward modernization and relief for Cairo's unbearable pressure. The other risks deepening inequality and disconnecting leadership from everyday life. This new city may define Egypt's future for generations, or it may become a cautionary tale about how power reshapes landscapes in its own image. So as towers rise and ministries move, one question remains, one that only time can truly answer. Is Egypt building a bold solution for its future, or a distant capital that slowly drifts away from its people?